the studio never sleeps. In 1967, a film factory on the hills of Clearwater Bay, Hong Kong, ran around the clock. 3 shifts, 8 hours each, 24 hours a day, 12 sound stages, 12 different movies shooting simultaneously. 1 completed feature every 9 days. That year, the studio released 43 films. The studio is called Shaw Brothers. Almost nobody outside of Asia knows its name, but you know its output. Every kung fu film you've watched, every martial arts training montage where a student is broken down and rebuilt into a weapon. Shaw Brothers wrote that template. Then one day, a young man walked through the studio gates with a deal in mind. He wanted $10,000 per film, roughly $80,000 in today's money, and creative control over his work. Shaw's counteroffer, $2,000, about $16,000 today. A 7-film contract, no creative input. The young man said no. He walked to a rival studio down the road. That man was Bruce Lee. His first film earned 3.2 million Hong Kong dollars in Hong Kong alone, the equivalent of about $4.5 million today. Shaw Brothers lost the biggest star in the history of Asian cinema over a gap worth $65,000 in today's money. But that's how the story ends. The real story is how 2 brothers from Shanghai built the most powerful film factory in Asia. They invented an entire genre in the process. There were 4 brothers, Runje, Runda, Runmei, and Run Run. Their father, a Shanghai textile merchant, gave them all names beginning with the same syllable. The character meant benevolence. In 1925, the 3 eldest brothers founded Tianyi Film Company in Shanghai. It was one of China's earliest studios. Almost immediately, rival studios formed a boycott, a cartel designed to starve the newcomers of exhibition space and choke them out of the market. The brothers' response was characteristic. Instead of fighting for screens in Shanghai, Runmi Shaw sailed to Singapore and started building their own. By 1927, they had their first cinema there. By 1939, they had 139 theaters across Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and Indochina. They didn't just make films, they owned the screens their films played on. Every step between camera and audience was theirs. No middleman, no negotiation. Then Japan invaded. The occupation of Shanghai in 1937 and Malaya in 1941 devastated the operation. The brothers managed to ship their equipment to Hong Kong before the Japanese arrived. The studios were destroyed, the theater chain was occupied. When the war ended, the brothers faced a choice about what came next. One of them moved to a small British colony on the South China Sea. He was 50 years old, he had a plot of land and a very specific idea of what to build on it. Run Run Shaw bought 46 acres of hillside land at Clearwater Bay, Hong Kong in 1957. The price, approximately 45 cents per square foot in US dollars. The same land is worth billions today. He called what he built Movietown. His model was Henry Ford's assembly line, not adapted from it, explicitly modeled on it. The goal was volume, speed, consistency. By 1965, Movietown had 12 sound stages capable of running 12 simultaneous indoor shoots. It had 16 permanent outdoor sets. One of them was a full-scale replica of the Great Wall of China, built from plaster. The costume warehouse held 80,000 items, the largest Chinese costume collection in existence at the time. Everything else was in-house too. Film processing, music scoring, dubbing, carpentry, prop making, even a stable for horses. The studio ran 3 8-hour shifts, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Actors were discovered, signed, trained, and housed all on the same grounds. Cheng Pei signed a 7-year contract at age 17 and moved straight into the studio dormitory. She would become Shaw's biggest female star. But first she had to follow the rules. She was forbidden from dating. Her grandmother lived with her in a 2-room apartment inside the compound. She didn't realize how famous she was until she married in 1970 and saw the crowd outside. The contracts were fixed, monthly salary, No bonuses, no profit participation. No matter how many millions a film made, the actor who made it got the same check. Alexander Fusheng, one of Shaw's brightest rising stars, injured his leg on set. He was replaced the same day. "There are no friends in the studios," he said. This machine could produce 43 films a year, but first, it needed something to fill them with. A genre that didn't exist yet. Before Shaw Brothers, there was no kung fu cinema. There were Wuxia films, Chinese martial chivalry stories rooted in swordsmanship and supernatural feats, closer to mythology than fighting. King Hu's Come Drink With Me in 1966 was the studio's first great example. Atmospheric, poetic, editing-driven. It starred Chang Pei as a female warrior, the first of its kind. It created the template for the female action hero in Chinese cinema, but it was the following year that everything changed. Cheh directed The One-Armed Swordsman in 1967. It became the first Hong Kong film to earn over 1 million Hong Kong dollars at the box office. Chang's innovation was technical. Rapid, multi-angle cutting between combatants, handheld cameras that put the viewer inside the fight, and something Hollywood hadn't tried yet. The hero suffers, he bleeds, he loses things. The fight costs him. Cheh called this heroic bloodshed. The Hong Kong press called him the $1 million director. Then came Lau Kar-Leung. Lau was a genuine Hung Gar Kung Fu practitioner, his lineage traceable to the legendary Wong Fei Hung. He had choreographed fights for Chang Cheh since 1966. When he became a director in 1975, he broke from everything Chang had done. His films weren't about style, they were about reality. Every technique had a name, every system had a history. The 36th Chamber of Shaolin in 1978 is the result. A feature-length martial arts training manual, chamber by chamber, 3 directors, 1 factory, 1 hillside. Together, they wrote the rules that every kung fu film since has followed. Training sequences as the dramatic engine, brotherhood as the emotional spine, revenge as the structure, the corrupt official as the villain. Even the sound design was codified here. The crack of a fist, the ring of a blade. Hip-hop producers worldwide would sample those sounds decades later. Having never set foot in Hong Kong, they invented the visual language. And then they made a business decision that handed it to everyone else. Raymond Chow had spent 11 years inside the Shaw machine. He rose from publicity manager to head of film production, and he spent a decade watching the same thing happen over and over. The studio's best talent would grow frustrated, feel undervalued, and dream of leaving. In 1970, Chow left. He founded Golden Harvest with Leonard Ho. His model was the structural opposite of Shaw's. Where Shaw demanded exclusivity and paid fixed salaries, Golden Harvest offered independent productions and profit participation. Where Shaw kept every creative decision, Golden Harvest gave directors and stars ownership of their own work. It was a different theory of the film business, and it was about to be proven correct. Bruce Lee returned to Hong Kong in 1971, looking to launch a film career. He approached Shaw Brothers first. His ask, $10,000 per film, roughly $80,000 today, and creative control. Shaw's counter was $2,000, a 7-film contract, no creative input. Run Shaw was reportedly offended, an untested newcomer, naming his price. The rate was the rate. That was how it worked. Lee walked to Golden Harvest. Raymond Chow offered $7,500 per film, still below what Lee asked. But he added a co-production deal through Lee's own company, Concord Productions. That meant profit ownership. Lee signed. His first film, The Big Boss, earned 3.2 million Hong Kong dollars in Hong Kong. Enter the Dragon followed in 1973, co-produced with Warner Brothers. It became one of the highest-grossing martial arts films ever made. Shaw Brothers passed on Bruce Lee over an $8,000 difference, about $65,000 today. The factory kept running, but the world had moved on without it. The 1970s should have been Shaw's decade. The studio had the infrastructure. It had the catalogue. It had 200 theaters across Southeast Asia, but Golden Harvest had Jackie Chan. And Jackie Chan had something Shaw Brothers couldn't manufacture. He made Cantonese films. Films that sounded like Hong Kong, not like films designed for a diaspora audience from a generation earlier. The local market had shifted. Shaw's Mandarin period epics felt increasingly like films made for someone else. Then VHS arrived. Shaw's entire advantage rested on owning the screens. That advantage disappeared the moment anyone could copy a film onto a tape. Piracy devastated theatrical revenues across Asia. Run Run Shaw was already looking at a different business. In 1980, he became the largest shareholder and chairman of TVB, Hong Kong's dominant, free-to-air broadcaster. In 1983, he leased Movietown to TVB. In 1986, Shaw Brothers suspended film production. The studio that had released 43 films in a single year went completely dark. And then, Run Run Shaw did something few expected. He locked the vault. For 15 years, he refused to license a single film for home video. The entire library, nearly 1,000 films, all of it legally unavailable. The studio that invented the genre had effectively erased itself from public view. However, the vault would eventually open, and what comes out reaches places Run Run Shaw never imagined. In 2000, Celestial Pictures paid 600 million Hong Kong dollars for the Shaw Brothers film library. They spent another 15.4 million US dollars restoring 760 films from the original negatives. The restoration brought the films back to the world. What the world did with them was not entirely expected. In 1981, the 36th Chamber of Shaolin aired on American television. A 12-year-old boy in New York named Robert Diggs watched it. He became the RZA. In 1993, Wu-Tang Clan released their debut album. They called it Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers. The title was a direct reference to a Shaw Brothers film. The group sampled Shaw dialogue. They adopted Shaw aesthetics. They built an entire mythology on a film factory most Americans had never heard of. Gordon Liu trained inside Movietown. He played Pai Mei in Kill Bill Volume 2 in 2004. Quentin Tarantino dedicated that film to Cheh. Run Run Shaw died on January 7, 2014. He was 106 years old. He had donated over 5,000 buildings to Chinese universities. The factory he built is a television studio now, but the language he invented still runs underneath almost every action film you've ever watched. The grammar of the fight, the structure of the training, the logic of the revenge. Shaw Brothers invented the visual language of Kung Fu cinema. But when traditional martial arts masters stepped into the modern cage, that cinematic language collapsed in 20 seconds. Watch how a single fight in a Chengdu basement exposed the gap between Kung Fu on screen and Kung Fu in reality, and forced China to completely rebuild its martial arts identity from the ground up. Watch The Fake Masters, how China re-engineered Kung Fu. And if you want to support us, then please subscribe to the channel. It supports us a ton. See you in the next video.